Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be bringing to you a closer look at Darth Vader from Star Wars Legion. I think a lot of things have changed with the game lately, and I think it's time to revisit him and look at some ways that I would build him out and some ways that I would play him some interesting interactions with some of the newer units and just kind of revisit this unit. If you are new here to the channel, I want to remind you about the May giveaway. I am still giving away a Star Wars Celebration exclusive Hasbro Black Series Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. Those are running throughout the whole month of May, so you can still enter to win those. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of the videos. Let me know what you think of Darth Vader. And I will announce that towards the end of the month. I usually announce winners at the end of my videos, and so make sure you watch all the way to the end, and I will ship those worldwide. So, let's talk about Vader, because a lot of things have changed with this unit over the past year. He was part of the core set, and we've all been using him quite a bit, but new commanders have come out a lot. We're doing a lot of different things. People aren't really using Vader all that much, at least not as much as they used to, because there's so many new commanders available. But I think a lot of new stuff has come out that can influence the way Vader works. So let's take a look at Vader himself. I'll talk about some upgrades and ways you might run him, and then we'll look at the new stuff. So first off, he's 200 points, very, very expensive. If you're going to run him, you probably aren't running a whole lot of other expensive stuff, also because he takes up so much of your list, and this is an objective-based game, so you need to have a lot of troopers. It's an infantry-based game. You got to have a lot of points left over for the rest of your army. So, lists don't normally have like 4, super expensive units. They usually have like 1 or 2, if that. So, him being 200 points, very expensive. He's got 3 force upgrades. He's got that lightsaber. That's 6 red dice. Impact 3, Pierce 3. Pierce is huge. I can't stress how important Pierce is. It's absolutely crucial. And we're seeing more and more of Pierce. That's what makes his immunity to Pierce that much more important, because it can't be used against him, which is really fantastic. He's only speed 1. That's crucial right there. He's only speed 1, so he is going to be moving really, really slow, and that's important because we're going to talk about that a lot more in this video. 8 health, and he's fearless. No suppression for this guy. He can't even be dealt suppression, so he's not ducking down to avoid hits that are coming in. Red defense die, but no surge of any type. Now, he does have deflect, so when you do have a dodge, because you're going to want to have a dodge, if you spend that dodge on an attack, you're going to gain the defensive surge. And also you're going to be able to deflect some damage back at the attacker. Immunity to Pierce, Master of the Force 1, you're going to reset one of your Force cards each turn, and then Relentless, which is very, very important, and it works well. Even though he's speed 1, Relentless helps make up for that. So that's like really the most important aspect of this character, in my opinion, is that Relentless keyword. Because it's both a ranged or melee attack. It's the full-blown attack action, and that's huge because we've seen charge on units. We've seen like our snowtroopers that have steady. They get to do a ranged attack after they move, but he can do either or. So if he does get close enough to the enemy units, he can swing in there with that lightsaber and completely wreck the rebels' day, and that's really important. So how would you build Darth Vader? So I think saber throw is absolutely crucial. He doesn't have a ranged attack at all. So this one does give him a ranged attack. He's going to be using half of his dice pool for the normal lightsaber, so he's going to get 3 red, which is a great attack. He still has Impact 3 and Pierce 3, so against vehicles, super good. Against anybody, super good. And it works with Relentless because it is treated as an attack action. It says it right there. So definitely does work with Relentless. Saber throw's absolutely crucial. Force Reflexes, I think, is pretty much stapled onto Vader. I almost always run Force Reflexes unless I'm doing some kind of fringe list. But it just gives him that free dodge, and he gets to reset this automatically each turn, so he doesn't ever have to really stop and recharge and recover. So I think this one's just crucial because of the deflect. It makes him so much more of a threat to always have that dodge token every turn. Now, a lot of times I'll only run those 2, but if I want to fully load him out, there are some other Force upgrades. I think Force Push is definitely an option. It's very fun to move units out from behind cover, move somebody who's maybe running away with an objective token, pull them back in so all the rest of your units can shoot at them. There's a lot of different things you can do with Force Push. I like it for supporting everything. I definitely like Force Push. Force Choke is probably one of my favorite options to put on Vader. because I like to run him very offensively. I like to put him right in the middle of everything, and if I'm going after one unit, I can also target that Z6 and the other unit, so I can actually, weaken 2 units at the same time, even though I can only attack once. Anger is an option if you're putting him very far forward, and you'll see that with some of the strategies that are coming out here, that you can have him build up a bunch of aim tokens before he attacks, so he can, because he has no offensive surge, there are 2 chances that each of his red dice might not work. He doesn't need a whole lot of aim tokens, so this one is kind of like, I don't know, like the red dice are pretty good, but it's still an option. And then battle meditation is another option. I don't usually use that on Vader. Ever. But it's an option if maybe you have snipers really far away and you also want to be able to issue them orders too. I can see a use for it. It's not what I do. It's not how I run Vader. So I want to talk about Palpatine with Vader. It's not something that is commonly done, but it is new. It has changed one of the ways that you can look at Vader, because it's giving him a free move action, right? If you use pulling the strings, and that's really all I'm talking about with Palpatine. Palpatine is crazy expensive, so to outfit him and outfit Vader and put them both in a list leaves you very few points for anything else. So it's not something that's always done. But if you're going to run Palpatine and Vader and you have Palpatine pull the strings with Vader, for one, boom, it gives him an extra move. But that free move also triggers Relentless. And that's important because then he can throw his saber again. He can attack 2 times, which is huge. Or if you time it right, Vader can move in, strike down some Rebel troopers with his lightsaber. If he kills them, then Palpatine can then activate, move up, pull the strings on Vader. He can move and attack somebody else. So, really a lot of potential to basically have Palpatine, micromanage his apprentice in this case, which is really fun. So much fun if you can pull this off. It's not necessarily something you want to run tournaments with. It's not the most competitive option out there, but sometimes you want to just kind of push the limits on how much you can squeeze out of Darth Vader. This is definitely a way to do that. I think Rebel Pathfinders have changed the way that you might want to think about running Vader, and maybe want you to revisit him just a little bit because of their infiltrate ability. They can deploy pretty much anywhere on the map, with some restrictions of being beyond distance 3 of all enemies. But if they go first, they can deploy anywhere. So you definitely want to think about how when you're deploying Vader, if you've got a big activation list, like if you're running 6 stormtroopers and some supports and then Vader, then maybe. You might want to wait, the Pathfinders have gone first. Now Vader might find himself in a position where he's throwing that saber, after maybe 2 moves and a range 2 attack on turn 1. You're more likely to have the middle of the battlefield populated with enemies. So Vader can actually be useful against stuff like this. Jyn Erso also has the same ability, but players are getting a little bit smarter on their infiltrate placement, and people are usually putting stuff behind cover. And this is one of those times where maybe Force Choke is really useful on Vader, because maybe he puts some Pathfinders, or your opponent puts some Pathfinders behind a big wall, but still close to you to lock down an objective, and Vader walks up behind that wall and snaps Bistan's neck from behind, through a wall. Force powers don't necessarily have to have line of sight. It's only if it says they have to have line of sight. So Vader can choke you without being able to see you, which is very, very cool. All right, so there's that, and let's not forget the tank, right? We've got this new transport capability where you can embark and disembark. You can deploy on the tank. And this is huge because the base for this thing is absolutely big, and you can totally get Vader into the middle of the battlefield on turn 1, something that would have taken him 2 or 3 turns potentially to get to. Now I'm going to show you some stuff and some diagrams. I put together some stuff, so I'll just kind of talk about just how strong this is. I put the Emperor's Mini down there just to kind of show you how you'd start with your first move and your second move, and you could get about that far, right? Just past maybe distance 1 if you just did a double move. Well, the big base size of this tank means if it does a 1, it's going to get you this far, and then Vader can potentially disembark, and look, he can get twice as far as he could normally move, or even a little bit more than twice as far. It's like 2.5 turns worth on turn 1. So he can really get into the middle of the battlefield right away. And of course, you can do the exact same thing for Palpatine as well here. But this is a Vader video. I don't have a Palpatine mask, so what am I going to do, right? But yeah, or heck, you could run 2 tanks, one with Vader, one with Palpatine. No, you actually can't do that because you would not have enough points left over. But that would be funny. It would be very funny. Maybe in an epic list, maybe in a Grand Army. And then your opponent would say, "Now there are 2 of them." Prequel memes. All right, so let's. So really, what I've shown you here is like the tank doing like a move, and then just one move, and maybe a shoot, and then Vader activates later on, and then how far out he moves. Here's the thing: the rules with embarking and disembarking, right? Like in this case, I deploy Vader on the tank. He starts out embarked, and he's going to do his disembark. If you're doing a disembark, the rules are going to change depending on how it works. So if the tank has only moved one time, he's done one standard move. Standard is the key word here. If he's only done one standard move, then Vader can still move off of him with one action and get the rest of his activation free. He can take his free actions. He can use all the effects that trigger off of a move, any of those free actions or attacks or any of that stuff. So Relentless will trigger as he steps off, and then he still has the he still has the other action that he can do. If the tank has done two standard moves, so if that tank went forward again, now you could get Vader really, really far, but he would be done as soon as he steps off. Can't do anything else. So that's really the key here. Is like, do you really want to drop him that far forward? I don't think so. He just, because then that would practically be a death sentence. I mean, maybe there's corner cases where you're just putting him in one corner of the map and your opponent had nobody there. But I don't think you really want to put Darth Vader all by himself. I think he wants to be out there cutting down rebels. So what I'm going to show you is a little way around this. I want to put a disclaimer out there. This is probably going to be changed because while it's technically legal, I will make it legal. It's kind of in violation of, I think, the intent of the rules. So I wouldn't be surprised if this gets changed. But for now, here's something that you can do. Let's say you deploy Vader on the tank. You deploy the tank backwards. All right. Deploying the tank backwards means if your first move is to do a reverse, which is not a standard move, it won't violate the whole tank moved two times, right? So if your first move is a reverse, you move back this way, right? And now for a second move, I'm going to do a normal movement action. Now I can pivot before I do a standard move action. So I pivot, move forward, and then when Vader's turn, he deploys. Now look how much farther we are. Okay, like I put out some range tools. This is getting you like beyond range 4 of the edge. Absolutely insane. If this was battle lines, I'd be attacking your commander on range 1. Insane. Absolutely insane. So this is just kind of showing you. Now, I do expect that to change because it feels like it's kind of against the spirit of what they wanted you to be able to do with the tank. But at the same time, also, you're starting off in reverse. So if you don't go first, people are going to be shooting you from all kinds of wacky angles. So granted, you're kind of putting your tank at risk there. But my thought is, if you do this, the very first thing you do is like if you're playing standing orders, you give your tank the order, so you can activate it first and get it turned around. So, but at the same time, your tank is going to be pretty far forward, and all of your opponents going to be shooting it, probably from the side. So, it's definitely a mixed bag. So yeah, like technically that is legal right now, but I don't expect it to really stay that way. I expect there'll be some kind of provision, like if you do a reverse, basically I don't think you should be able to do that, but you can. What I would probably suggest is if you're trying to do something like that, just deploy the tank sideways, as far forward as it can go, but sideways, and then for its first move, you'll then pivot forward. That'll kind of take it just a little bit farther than it would have been otherwise. And then you can squeeze out like that extra half inch or so if you're really trying to get him out of the. Because also this way you can shoot that turn too, and of course you're taking some risk by deploying it sideways because that's everybody whoever takes their first shot is going to get an extra impact when they do that. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of new possibilities with Vader. I think he's a lot of fun right now, and I think. He'll be very thematic to run against Clone Wars factions. I think he'll be a lot of fun to just see, lightsaber versus lightsaber dueling. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So that's what I've got to say about it. I would love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.